places the blame for all of this squarely on you, the viewers.
Would you say we'd be venturing into a zone of danger?
It doesn't matter what you think.
You're listening to the Our Take Podcast with Bryan Sherman.
He had a full head, all the way till the end. It was white, and I was hoping to get that. I was hoping to get, the full head, and it was really hard to cut it off.
And Spencer Rogers.
To be a good pilot, you have to be able to make good decisions. And I know what my credit score is, so I know I don't make good decisions.
This is the Our Take Podcast.
From Scary Paramedia Studios in Ogden, Utah, it's the Our Take Podcast, episode 34. I'm Bryan.
I'm Spencer.
On this day in history, it is February 1st.
Yeah.
On this day in history in 1884, the first portion of the Oxford English Dictionary, considered the most comprehensive and accurate dictionary of the English language, is published.
Wow.
How about that? We should probably take a look at that.
The dictionary? Dictionary. Don't they still add new words every year, like selfie and hand job?
They do, and they do the word of the year and Kofefi stuff.
Was that's not a word though, right? That was just a
gaff,
a blunder.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Kofefi. I don't know, man. Some of these dictionary companies though, like Oxford and Webster and Dictionary.com, they talk massive crap on Trump. Oh, he'll say something wrong on Twitter, and they'll tweet back. It's pretty embarrassing.
Well, that's funny. Well, he did use the wrong there this week.
Oh man!
When he told people to go back to school.
Oh, did you see what Don Jr. did?
No.
He said something reminded him of an S and L skit.
Oh my!
And he used the and symbol. S and L, not S and L.
Saturday and Life.
It's Saturday and Life.
Oh,
it's in
my gosh.
The cold open every week for the past 44 years, live from New York. It's Saturday night.
Wow, he's stupid.
Yeah. And then the announcer, it's Saturday Night Live.
Why don't they have people tweeting for them?
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, they should really, wow.
Yeah.
That's, wow. Yeah. So there I was.
Were you waiting in line somewhere?
No. Well, no. I was driving my car on the interstate on I-15 heading to work. And out of nowhere, a rock, chip, pebble thing hits my windshield.
Yeah.
And causes
You get a little asterisk?
Yes.
Just
a chip.
Did you flick your head? Did you see it coming?
No.
Sometimes that happens to me.
I didn't.
I'll see it, and it's I kind of flick my head
I have
back.
had that happen before. But there was no big truck or anything. It just came out of nowhere.
Huh.
And so I have an indenture or a chip.
Sure.
And I park my car. I don't really think anything of it. I go into work. And then I go with a coworker somewhere. We had to go get his phone because he left it on the train. Yeah. And it's been an hour, and there's a giant crack in my windshield.
Did it get warm? Was it today?
No, it was yesterday.
It did get kind of warm yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the temperature swings, man.
Yeah, so now I got to get a new windshield. I'm super stoked on that.
Yeah.
I guess I don't have to because we don't have inspections here anymore, but...
That's true. There's no safety
it's
inspection in Utah.
Right in my eye line, though.
I wonder if you can still get a fix-it ticket.
Yeah, you can.
That
was one of the thing they... Yeah, I looked at Safe Light, and it was $350.
I think we got to call your insurance.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, most of them do one a year, but you might have a deductible, $100 or something.
We'll have to see.
I need a new one.
I'll have to call Geico. We'll call the Gecko and see what they say.
Find if you're being hosed.
Yeah.
I got a retraction. Actually, not a retraction.
Okay.
We didn't misreport anything.
Oh.
Remember when you were talking about the headline of 95,000 voters in Texas?
Yeah.
Non-citizens were registered to vote?
Yeah.
Turns out, Texas quietly informs counties that some of the 95,000 voters flagged for citizenship review don't belong on that list.
Yeah, I saw that. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And what was the reason behind the mistake?
There's no reason. Voter suppression.
I thought there was
they said
something about the DMV or something.
Yeah, they said that some of the voters whose citizenship status the state said county should consider checking should not actually be on those lists. What did they say? Something about doing it at like the freaking DMV.
Yeah, it was something
it
weird
now.
like that. I don't know.
But it didn't make any sense. And one county here, it was, Harris County, 29,800 voters were initially flagged. And the Douglas Ray, who's in charge, said a substantial number, quote unquote, of them are now being marked as citizens. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, just nice. Don't make this news. Just call. Just the Secretary of State's office just called and said, "Hey, you can remove like half those names.
Whoops, our bad.
We were just looking, and if they were Hispanic, we flagged them. So they're actually okay."
It's funny.
Anyway,
speaking of Hispanics, well, wait, yeah, I guess fentanyl. No. So this week they had the biggest bust, I guess,
I heard
in
about
history of fentanyl, and you wouldn't believe where fentanyl, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll give you some. You say tomato, I say fentanyl.
Well, it's a Y. I mean,
I've got a Y for you right here.
Yeah, I heard about this.
And it came across where the wall would have been, just out in the middle of the desert. There was a caravan of people carrying a truckload of. Oh no, wait, that's
You're
wrong.
right. Oh.
It actually just came through on a semi truck through the port of entry.
It's carrying what, avocados? I think.
Yeah,
or cucumbers. Yeah, it wasn't. They weren't bounding through the desert.
No, so I was so shocked. I thought that's how all fentanyl got here. But
thought for sure the slats would stop them.
Yeah. Oh,
the slatted wall.
Yeah. Well, it did.
Yeah.
And they had to make a turn and go through the port of entry.
I saw this story because people were lighting up Kellyanne Conway.
Oh, really?
Because she retweeted the story and said our border patrol agents are amazing. They need more resources, which is totally true. Mm-hmm. But everybody was tweeting back at her. You just proved that we don't need a wall.
I know.
It was caught at a port of entry, not in the middle of the desert. It was on a truck, not in a backpack. Right. It wasn't by, an asylum seeker. It was by a Mexican national. Anyway, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But.
So there you go.
Foot in your mouth moment. I'm down. Like I said before.
Speaking of foot in your mouth moments,
I'm down 11.4 billion to Trump. If I was the Democratic leader, I'd give you 11.4. I'd double what you want, but none of it could go to a wall. It would all go to technology and more agents.
Right. But yeah, foot in your mouth, kind of.
Yeah.
John Bolton.
John Bolton?
Yeah.
The Secretary of...
Our Secretary of Defense.
Yeah.
Now, remember we talked about Venezuela the last episode quite extensively.
Yes.
And I had said, is there any possibility of military action in Venezuela?
Yes.
And
I said Marco Rubio had publicly said no one had been talking about it.
And I believe, I want to call him Michael Bolton. John Bolton, Mr. Mustache, he said something similar, except for his notebook.
Oh, the notepad.
The
legal pad.
The legal pad told a different tale.
So we got to lay it out. Now I remember. Now I saw it. So they're in the White House press room. Sarah invites him up to talk about the sanctions being placed on, with Mnuchin, by the way. Mnuchin was up there as well. Uh-huh. Talk about the sanctions being placed on Venezuela. Someone in the press asks about military, and he says no.
Right.
But as he's turning away, there's 2 lines on his legal pad. What did they say?
I can't. My cursive reading.
One of them said, I think 5,000.
Yeah, part of it says 5,000 troops to Colombia.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what the top one says. I'm not sure. So
what's going on in the Trump White House is the question.
I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist or anything, but would they have done that on purpose for any reason?
It's totally plausible.
I can't think of any reason why.
I've said, I don't know if I've ever said
Maybe
this on
they're
the...
sponsored by Docket Gold. that brand of notepad.
I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast before, but I think part of Trump's overall policy strategy is to lightly put something out there, see how people respond, and then he'll decide whether he's going to go with it. And so he could certainly be kind of putting this out there,
Testing
5,000
the
troops
water.
to Colombia. Let's see how the press reacts. Let's see how the polls react. And then, yeah, it's totally possible, though. It's not getting any better in Venezuela.
No.
Oh, well, I lied. It's still pretty bad. However, Maduro did say he was willing to negotiate with Guaido,
Oh, really?
which is big.
Oh, that's
That's
good.
big. I mean, I don't know where we are now, but that was a couple days ago. I heard that on
Well,
the radio.
we have 5,000 troops ready to go to Colombia, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
it's because this guy is like a warmonger. Look at him, man. The guy is so... Gosh, Republicans are ugly.
freaking... Oh, man. Yeah, I saw
I
a
mean,
picture
and the
of-
last good-looking one left, Paul Ryan, he was out
Yeah.
of there, man.
He's like, I'm not
We
part of
got
this
Chris
anymore.
Christie, John Bolton,
Mitch
Sarah
McConnell.
Sanders. I mean, man.
What did McConnell do? Oh, did you hear about this thing that the Elizabeth Warren... No, that Pelosi put forward? She put forward a bill in the House to make voting day the first Tuesday in November or whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
Which is stupid. Should be a Sunday, and it should be like 2-3 days long, whatever.
right.
She put a bill on the floor of the House to make it a national holiday so that more people, especially federal workers, could make it to the polls without having to wait in line after work.
Right.
And Mitch
that'd be cool.
McConnell, right? Okay, yeah. Let me ask you, what's your opinion of that idea?
I'm always game for another day off work.
She
so-
also recommended that we give federal workers an additional 5 days off if they would like to volunteer during the election, whatever, that 5 days leading up to the
Right.
election, right?
Right.
At a booth or what have you, okay? So how do you feel?
That sounds fine to me.
Yeah, I mean, can you think
It
of
also
any...
sounds like it might benefit lower income people, which
So who wouldn't like that?
I don't. I corporations, I guess. I don't even think. Why would they even care that much?
Right. Dude, I just Googled Mitch McConnell, and the second one is Turtle. But no, I mean, what do you think Mitch's response was?
Oh, I'm sure he turned it down, but I'd like to know why.
He called it a Democrat power grab.
Well, how so?
I have no idea. I watched a bit of his speech, and all he was saying was like,
I have a neck.
the last thing we need to do is give them 5 more days off so that they can go campaign for the Democrats. He literally said that. So he's assuming that every federal worker is going to take those 5 days off to go campaign for the Democrats, and we shouldn't give people the day off to go vote. It's amazing. What
This party is like they're grasping at straws.
You're anti-democracy.
We already know.
I don't understand that. Well, I don't know what. I mean, unless he's saying that there's not enough money in the budget to pay people.
The fact that was his reasoning is the most absurd. They'll go campaign for the Democrats. Who cares? Okay.
So that's their right.
Try harder.
Right.
Like,
yeah. First Amendment. I
mean,
believe.
they know that they're whooped. Like they, right?
Right.
Don't they? The writing's on the wall. Like
Right.
they're a dying breed, and the far right is.
I just don't understand it. And I think Pelosi's smart. Well, I know she's smart. I think she put both of those things in there so that when it comes to compromise, we'll get the election day as a holiday. We'll take away the 5 days off and just say election day is now a holiday so that everybody can vote. There's
Right.
no excuse for any federal worker,
Right.
Any company that recognizes national holidays, everybody should be able to vote because we have a voting turnout problem.
Yeah.
People don't show up,
Right.
So aside from being on a Tuesday,
Yeah, that is
they
weird.
should just make it. In my opinion, it should be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. Why is it only one day?
I'm sure there's some constitutional thing about it that no one wants to amend because they're afraid if they do their party will lose like this. If we give the people the day off, then more blue collar workers
Right.
will have the day off.
Right.
And I guess they don't vote Republican.
Oh. I wonder why.
I don't get it, man.
Which is and isn't true. There's, that's actually.
I was visiting with an old woman today.
Oh.
Okay. And she's pretty conservative.
Yeah.
Fox News on,
Right.
hates CNN.
Of course.
Fake
news.
Fake news. And talking mad crap on like Elizabeth Warren, saying she's disgusting, right? But then she said something that intrigued me. I don't care how you feel about politicians. I understand that, right? Or about your ideology. I understand. But she said all the Democrats want to do is tax billionaires. And the tone of her voice was like she felt bad and was standing up for billionaires. And she's maybe like a 10,000-aire. You know what I mean? I'm like, what?
I was actually thinking about this.
Because
I was thinking about what it is. Because, my dad always be like, oh, they're a Democrat, they're liberal. And then I just think to myself, what are they doing that's so bad? Like,
right.
What is it that's so objectionable that the left is doing?
Well, and if you're not a billionaire, why do you have a problem with billionaires being taxed? Why are you standing up for them?
Yeah, I don't
so
understand.
Weird.
Like, I maybe it's just this older generation that they tend to have a lot more loyalty towards their companies and such.
Yeah.
Whereas at this point, it's so clear to me that they don't care.
Like corporate tax breaks and stuff?
The companies don't care. There are people in the corporation, in the company that may care about me, like my boss and maybe even his boss. But beyond that, they don't care at all.
No.
If they need to, I'm gone.
Right.
It's that done deal.
They'll surplus you.
They don't care.
No.
And I make crap, and the CEO makes, $6 million a year, and then he quote unquote I care about all the employees.
Right.
If you really cared about all the employees, then maybe you'd make $300,000 a year
right.
and trickle some of that money down to the rest of us. But you don't care.
But guess what doesn't happen?
What?
Trickle down.
Oh, yeah.
So, man, this one, we've never talked about economics because neither one of us are really, we're not economists, but you can see that trickle down economics have never worked.
Right.
Reagan tried it, led to a bust.
Mm-hmm.
Bush tried it, led to the recession. You know what I mean? It doesn't, because companies don't trickle down and the rich don't trickle down. Your CEO just takes that money.
Right.
Says, awesome. I have more money now.
Cool.
Why would I
$3 million
trickle that down?
bonus. Why should I give that to the people that make it possible?
Right.
Like the more I work in these companies, the more I used to be a little bit more anti-union, but they rake you over the coals.
Yeah.
And SkyWest, the company I work for, is not a union. It's one of the only airlines it might be the only airline that's not.
Yeah.
And they've got a whole section of their webpage dedicated to union slamming.
Oh, geez.
And they're like, well, we have this other thing that's kind of like a union, and meanwhile, all of us get paid we get paid so bad. Everyone does.
And if there's even talk of a union, all of you guys are fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Anyway, to bring it back, I have no idea, like this woman's loyalty to billionaires, of whom I can't speak for her.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't know any, though.
No.
But she was living in a, middle class neighborhood.
You should go ask her tomorrow. Knock on her door.
Why the
why?
Yeah.
Why is it that you?
I want to talk about our conversation again.
What is so bad
about taxing billionaires a little bit more?
I just that's what I guess that's what I want to know from conservative. If you're conservative, message us. Tell us, one, what is it that the left does that makes them so bad?
Right, repugnant.
Yeah, where they're just like, these people are evil, because that has come out of people's mouths before.
Oh yeah,
they're evil.
Yeah, Antichrist.
Yeah, Antichrist. They're evil. When in reality, most of them are still Christian.
Yeah.
So one, tell me that. Tell me what it is that they're doing that's so bad. And two, tell me what it is that the right is doing that's so good.
Right.
Because to me, it seems like both sides kind of suck. And,
Oh, for sure.
And
But let's just take this latest example.
right,
House Speaker has the majority, puts out a law that says we want people to be able to vote more.
right.
So we're going to make this a national holiday. And the Senate Majority Leader comes back and says, that's ridiculous. You're just trying to get more Democrats to vote.
I know.
So go ahead and rebut. Go ahead. You know what I mean? Like, I want to hear a rebuttal because we tend to kind of slam the right on this podcast because that's our take, right? That's how we feel.
I want desperately to be in the middle, but just lately, there's just so many things on the right that it's just like, well, but especially it's just.
But both
like,
have become
what?
so polarized,
Yeah.
right? That when you almost feel radical, and this goes both ways, right?
Uh-huh.
If you're a moderate left, you feel like you are so against this crazy right, and if you're moderate right, you feel like you're so against this crazy left. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
because all of the talking points are so polarizing.
But I guess from my view, I just don't see the things that the left want to do seem good for the public.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we want to give people access to health care.
Right.
We want to...
That one's interesting to me.
Right.
Because Republicans will say that, but they never offer a solution.
Oh, no.
Let me Google something real quick.
Okay.
How many times have they tried to repeal Obamacare?
Countless.
And how many times did they have a solution?
They never have a solution. They just want to repeal and quote-unquote replace.
Not replace, though. 54 times. I'm sorry. That was only in 2014.
Whoa.
In 2014, the bill passed in 2009 became law. So in 5 years, Mitch McConnell tried to repeal that bill 54 times.
Jeez. Well,
And
beating a dead horse.
We've said that we've said this here. We both concur that Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act it's not perfect.
it's not great. No,
Right?
It has
But-
lots of issues.
But we have to try something.
I just want to know what is so bad about giving everyone health care
Or
and
education.
And I understand that it'll make taxes go up, but at the same time, we're already getting raked over the coals for medical. How much more could it possibly be?
Look, one way or another, answer me this. How are we ever going to balance the budget?
We can't. We're
Like, do you realize that if we wanted to balance the budget, we would have to raise taxes?
right.
Because the government is not going to agree to cut any department.
I have a question. This is just because we owe a lot of money to China,
Right.
correct?
Well, they buy our bonds and land and stuff.
Okay. So I've been watching this the World War II documentary, The Circle of Evil, about Hitler's
Inner Circle.
inner circle. And one of the reasons that the Nazis were able to sway the public was because the economy went bad when the U.S. went to the Depression.
Right.
Because the U.S. recalled a bunch of loans.
Right.
And so if that were to happen to China, what would happen here? Anything?
You mean like if China tumbled?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fantastic for us.
Would it? No. Well, if they recalled a bunch of you know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
I'm sorry. I was thinking about it the other way. Yeah, so I looked it up. We owe them $1.14 trillion.
oh, that's all. Huh?
Yeah. So, I mean, they always try and talk about cutting programs. You know, if you look at the budget, the only one that would ever even make a dent is defense.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only one. If we cut defense, we might be able to balance this thing. But no one, especially on the right, is willing to cut defense. You know? And I'm not saying I disagree or agree. I think we should pay our soldiers more.
Yeah.
I want to have the best equipment. However, I am willing to admit that our military is bigger than the next 12 countries combined
It is, if I remember.
in terms of
correctly.
force,
Yeah.
you know?
But in all defense, our country is bigger than most of them combined.
China?
Well, China's military, I think, is bigger than ours.
No.
Their army is, at least.
Their army is, but an army is moot when you have a nuke.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
China, I think, is the next. I want to say China is the next biggest. I think. Japan has a really good Air Force, although theirs is just defense, right? We talked about that.
China has a decent Air Force too, even though most of their planes are knockoffs of ours, like literally Chinese knockoffs. It's funny,
Yeah.
Like they look like they have a plane that looks almost exactly like the Raptor. It's
Yeah. Well, you know that one of the engineers from
that
went
did
and sold
happen
it to him.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of this, of the left, something that bothered me that the left did the other day, since we rag on the right so much. Not that this is like a representative of the left or anything, but Samantha Bee, her show.
Yeah.
She was talking about this sort of similar.
Yeah.
And she brought up the military, and she was ragging on the F-35 and how she gave a bunch of statistics about the F-35 and how it was over budget
And how it's expensive.
and
yeah.
how it was expensive and how 1 out of 6 of the planes are able to fly, but the information was all from like 2014
when it was still in
when it was
testing.
and I'm like, I'm pretty sure they fly over my house every day.
So her stats said that only 1 out of 6 made flew.
Yeah,
Well, we
basically.
shouldn't have to pay for those.
Well, Anyway, it was kind of annoying that like get some
I agree.
newer statistics.
Well, and
like
everybody does that.
That's kind of a reach, but
Right. And maybe it's just hard. I don't know. Yeah. When you're trying to prove a point, you're absolutely going to go confirmation bias here.
yeah,
You know?
I know. I just like
So I did some quick math while you were talking.
yeah.
We owe China 1.4 trillion.
Okay.
Okay. There's about 350 million people in the country right now. Does that sound about right?
I think it's closer to 4 now.
Four,
but
closer
yeah.
to 4. If we wanted to pay off China right now,
Yeah.
that's $4,000 per citizen.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that's just our debt, though. I'm not even talking about the debt. I'm talking about the deficit.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the budget. The only way to balance the budget, it's not going to be cuts, people. It can't be cuts. No one's going to compromise. You're not going to cut Medicare
So how do
or
we
Social Security.
How do we operate with the ballot that we're spending more than we? Is that
They raise the debt ceiling
just
every year.
Inflation keeps going up and up.
Not
and-
inflation. We just keep raising the debt ceiling, saying it's okay. We'll just sell more bonds to more people, to more countries.
so
right?
other countries own us.
Yeah, like if you can go buy a 10-year bond right now in the U.S. Treasury, right, and say I don't know what it's yielding, like 1% probably, But when you buy 100 billion of them,
Right.
it's a very what's the word? Like it's not going to fail, right?
Right.
People trust it. That's why when S&P 500 or freak man,
NASDAQ?
no, it was. And I think it's S. Oh no, shit. Whatever. We lost our credit rating. Remember that from AAA?
Oh, yeah.
That was a huge deal because all the people who owned our bonds were like, "Wait a second, we trust that we're going to get these paid when we want them."
Right.
So I don't. I'm not saying I'm. Look, I know that it's a common thought to say liberals want to raise taxes to pay for social issues. And Republicans want to lower taxes. I get that. Everybody wants lower taxes. But until you can show me how lowering taxes is going to reduce the deficit,
Yeah. I don't.
I don't know what to tell you because no representative is going to agree to cut money from their state,
Right.
right? Or for the defense of the country, because if they vote against that and something happens,
Yeah.
they'll be murdered.
Right.
So, and speaking of defense,
Yeah.
you're familiar with the doomsday clock?
No. Yeah. I don't know. Tell me.
So the
It sounds
doomsday
familiar.
clock is it's a symbol that represents the likelihood of man-made global destruction.
Right.
Okay, it started in 1947 by members of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists. So it's based a lot off of what's happening in the nuclear world.
Mm-hmm.
So to give you some context, the initial setting of the doomsday clock in 1947. So, 2 years after the first atomic bombs were dropped?
Right.
Was 7 minutes to midnight. So once you get to midnight, that is the world is over. So it's just their way of saying, like, how close are we? Okay. 1949, the Soviet Union tests its first atomic bomb. They take it down to 3 minutes to midnight. So they're scared. It goes down to 2 minutes in 1953, height of the Cold War. Goes back up. Everything's looking good. 1963, it's at 12 because they sign, the U.S. and the Soviet Union sign a treaty. So what just happened today?
Yeah, we pulled out of a treaty that may or may not have been squandered on both sides anyway.
It sounds like Russia's been cheating anyway. I'm sure that we have.
Right.
But it's the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, the INF.
Right.
So these are kind of shorter range nuclear missiles. And the reasoning behind it was so that a false alarm wouldn't trigger a nuclear war.
Okay, yeah.
Right? If we agree that we won't shoot short range,
right?
Because if you shoot short range, we're going to shoot right back, and it's going to be over in minutes,
right?
You know, so we agree to not make these short range ones. They have to be, intercontinental. It's kind of a weird treaty, right? But we've had some suspicions that Russia's not obeying or abiding by the treaty, and so we pulled out today. We gave them, I think, 60 days or something like that. To correct the issue. So this bulletin now from the atomic scientists, we're back at 2 minutes to midnight.
Oh.
That's the closest it's ever been.
Great. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I don't in my World War II documentary watching, I watched one on Hiroshima and the first nuclear bomb and the crew that dropped it and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know why anyone would ever want to do that again, ever.
No.
To any populace.
Those bombs were tiny.
They are I'm trying to think of a comparison.
They're 1/1000th.
Yeah, they're like an ant compared to a boulder.
When we switched from atomic to nuclear to hydrogen,
right?
You know what I mean? Those bombs, the ones we dropped on Japan, were only 10% efficient.
Yeah. The ones that we have now are big enough to wipe out all of Manhattan.
Yeah, one shot.
It, yeah.
And we're not talking a small radius and then radiation kills them. We're saying all of Manhattan would be immediately vaporized. They're huge. And I think we killed 50,000 people in Japan with that's a low estimate.
That was what they said on the second one.
Nagasaki.
Yeah, they said on the first one that they didn't know.
Yeah,
it was
low estimates.
It was a lot.
I'm thinking it's closer to 100 each.
Yeah,
and those are civilians because that's the whole problem with nuclear weapons is you can't target
military.
Yeah, and so leaving this treaty is scary because now there's the threat of using small nuclear arms on a battlefield.
But
I don't know.
Why are we at odds with developed countries?
It doesn't make any sense.
Why? What is the point?
Yeah.
To what end?
I have no idea.
What? Why? What does Russia want to accomplish? I mean,
and they're asking the same thing about us.
Well, I know, I agree.
It's
but the only reason we have them is because they have them. You know what I mean? We have to have them because they have them.
The cycle of non-trust.
It's ridiculous.
And then we come in and tell other people they can't.
Right.
We're
like, sorry, Iran, North Korea, you can't.
We're already dealing with Russia, bro. So please, stop.
Yeah. Well, why do they need them? Why would anyone want to unleash that?
I don't know.
What kind of a person would press that button?
Because it feels, I don't know, man. It's definitely more of an offensive weapon than a defensive weapon.
Yeah, well.
The only thing it really is it like a deterrent.
I mean, at this point, we dropped it on Japan. We were the only ones that had them. Okay, it was kind of like, we had
no idea they were going to do that.
Well, they knew it was going to, that's what the documentary said, is they knew it was going to be bad,
right?
But they had no idea how bad. And they had no idea, they knew there was going to be radiation. They didn't know the extent and how
Right.
many people would die later and would get all this poisoning and stuff.
And
They
you
had no idea.
You also think about what's happening in those bombs that was splitting the atom.
Right.
There's no reason in your head to think that that would stop.
Right.
So they didn't know if it was going to stop or not. It could just keep going. And now the bombs we have are fission. They're putting atoms together, which is somehow makes a bigger explosion of energy. I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't end in any. It doesn't end any conflict.
No.
Because you launch one, we have to launch one. The country's gone.
Right.
Like, what is that? What?
Everyone would launch at the same time. So, like, if you put this scenario together, let's say we even instigate.
Yeah.
Right? We launch one at Russia. Russia launches one at us.
Right.
Iran launches one at Israel. Israel launches one at Pakistan. India launches one at, you know what I mean? Like, every country would go for it at that point.
So, why do we have them?
I have no idea.
I mean, Russia shoots us with one. They kill, 1 million people. We're gonna do the same thing to them. Why would they want that?
Right.
What? Like, I don't know. It's really bothersome, but
it's a fascinating topic because you just can't. I don't know. I don't even know what to liken it to. It's like
there's nothing
going up to a stranger and raising your fist, and then they raise their fist, and you're just like walking around each other with fists raised, like, "What are you, motherfucker? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" If you, I'll pull my. I got two now. I got two now, and then they put up two now. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
And it seems like Russia would have more to lose because they have more land, but we have more populace, so we could wipe them out a lot quicker, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's dumb. It's small dick syndrome, and all these guys just need to relax. So I found the 25 most powerful militaries in the world.
Okay.
And it actually breaks down everything because it's interesting. The United States is number 1. 2 million active personnel.
2 million.
Yeah. Oh wow. Our budget is $587 billion.
Okay, yeah. Put that into context, people.
Okay.
500.
There is no one even remotely close to ours. The closest is China, and they're still 4 billion behind us.
4 billion? 4 billion?
China's 400 billion, sorry. They're 161.7 billion. We're 587.8 billion.
So we have a military that's 5 times the size in terms of money.
Yeah, but they actually have... Okay, so it gets interesting because it breaks it down by tanks, aircraft, and aircraft carriers and submarines. So we have 2 million active personnel, almost 6,000 tanks, 13,000 aircraft.
13,000 aircraft.
Actually, it's closer to 14,000 aircraft. 19 aircraft carriers, which BT dub, no one even...
No, I think, does China only have one? Or Japan has one?
They have one. Yeah, no one even comes close to our Navy. And 70 submarines. Russia has... they have about 1 million more personnel than us. But their budget is only $44 billion.
They've relied on science,
I guess,
to say, like,
they also have...
We don't care how many people you have. We've got a freaking missile that can fly faster than anything you can shoot it down with.
I guess. Well, they also have 20,000 tanks compared to our 6, but they only have 3,700 aircraft, 1 carrier, and 63 submarines.
See, Russia's land protection makes a lot more sense than ours. We got 2 oceans.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
You go back to, like, you've been watching these specials, watch Stalingrad.
Right.
Like, that's all tanks and personnel,
sure.
And so if the U.S. and its
sense,
allies
actually.
ever wanted to push east,
Right.
like with Germany, France, Italy, it would be hard to stand a chance,
Right.
But I want to go back to our planes. We have 14,000 aircraft.
We have a lot. We do have a lot of airplanes. We have air superiority for sure.
14. What do you do with 14,000 aircraft?
I don't know. I think the reason it's so high is because we're transitioning right now between the F-20, well, mostly the F-35 and the F-16. So we've got a lot of excess.
What's the cheapest aircraft though? That the
Oh, I don't. It's
You know what I
probably
mean?
the
Like-
F-16 now because I think those are still
We're
in
not
production.
talking about like little props. We're talking about really expensive planes.
This does. I'm guessing this includes trainer aircraft, which is probably a lot of,
yeah.
but which are small.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, but I'm guessing it does.
So our budget,
And it probably also includes helicopters, and we do have 3 branches of the military that all use
I'll use air
airplanes,
Right.
for different things,
Right.
But it's a lot,
and the Coast Guard.
and our land, because you got to think we have National Guard bases
No,
in every state.
I totally understand why we need to have air and sea superiority because we have 2 oceans. We don't
Right.
we don't need land. Where are they going to invade from?
Yeah, no, for
You know
sure.
what I mean? Like we would see them coming even if they tried to drop off 10,000 tanks in Canada. Like we would see it coming. So I understand why we need it, but that just seems crazy outdone.
It is a lot.
And I know that you'll hear that argument from the left. Like why we don't need this.
They do. I just have a soft spot in my heart for airplanes, so
Well,
I don't really care.
Uh,
Whenever they like I was pissed when Obama canceled the F-22,
Yeah.
and when people trashed the F-35, I'm like, hey, these are cool, man.
So-
Don't worry about it.
you said our budget on the defense is $587.
Yeah, $billion.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's $1,500 a person
Wow.
per year.
Wow. Hold on, let me read you China's real quick.
Okay.
Because they have
China.
the most well, actually India has more personnel. Wow, look at that.
Well, I think India is more populous at this point.
Yeah.
And they might have forced.
Yeah,
service.
well, hold on. I'm getting.
Oh, okay.
Let me get to that. So China has 3,700,000 active personnel.
Do you understand how many people that is?
That's a lot.
That's crazy.
It's over 1 million more than us. They have the budget's 161 billion.
You know what though? They ain't got no planes to get them here or anywhere.
You're right. They have 6,500 tanks and 3,000 aircraft, 1 carrier, and 68 subs.
Yeah, you wanted to get those 3,700,000 people somewhere on
India-
3,000 planes.
India, oddly enough, I didn't know. So they have 42 or 4.2 million personnel.
Oh my gosh!
But their budget's only 51 billion. They have 4,400 tanks, 2,100 airplanes, 3 aircraft carriers, and 15 submarines. So they actually have a lot of.
India, once again, they have a coast,
Yeah,
right? They have a
that's true.
coast, and they have an enemy right next to them, Pakistan.
Okay,
Like Pakistan and Pakistan, both of those guys are nuclear, by the way.
so. Okay.
4.7.
Oh, I didn't even realize that it reads out who has the most here. So we have the biggest budget. Russia has the most tanks. We have the most aircraft and aircraft carriers. Now, I'm going to skip all these other countries and because we're going long here, probably need to go to a break. But let's talk about North Korea.
Okay, no, man.
Okay, so they have a budget. Their defense budget is $7.5 billion.
I don't believe that. I don't even believe that number.
Why?
Dude, they don't have any money.
Well, 7.5.
7.5 billion? I don't think it's that big.
7.5 billion. They have 5,000 tanks, 944 aircraft, 0 carriers, and 76 submarines. But are you ready for their active personnel?
That's a lot of submarines. Yeah, go.
6,445,000.
That's every citizen. What's the population? 6 million?
6.4 million. So they technically have the most active personnel.
25 million is the estimate in North Korea. I'm not even sure how we know that. Like this, I don't think they released that.
No.
So, but yeah, once
They definitely have forced military service there.
Oh, for
So
sure.
does South Korea. They have. My friend, my old roommate, had to be in the military for a little bit.
Yeah, I got a buddy who was in South. So, submarines make sense for them on the coastline, but tanks.
I bet
on
they're
the-
all old Russian submarines too.
Everything's Russian.
Everything. A lot of what they have are old Russian planes and tanks and everything.
We're talking about it's funny that we're even this is like we're already planning World War III.
I know, right?
But the doomsday clock is at 2 minutes to midnight. Okay.
Well, at
2
least
minutes.
we probably would have India on our side
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of allies, we'd have India, France, and United Kingdom, who are the next biggest three, and Japan, and Germany. So, and South Korea. Oh, South Korea has 5.8 million active personnel.
Yeah. Plus all the U.S. troops there.
Yeah.
I think we have like
we'll be
50,000 troops over
We'll
there.
be all right.
No, I'm not worried about it, but a lot of people will die.
Yeah.
You know,
These other countries have to know that we have way more allies than them, though, right? I mean,
yeah.
they're not.
For sure. Which is why that's why Putin is doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer it's like the oldest technique in the book.
So Hitlery.
Yeah. You know, and now we'll talk about that on Sunday. Never mind.
All right.
Let's take a break.
Yeah, we got to take a break. I think we've already been on for like an hour or something. Anyway, when we come back, we do have some random headlines today. Nothing super interesting. Also, I forgot where they are, so I got to find those.
Nice.
Yeah. When we come back, Bryan jumps over a giraffe.
InfoWars.
Alex Jones here. As you probably heard, I was banned from Facebook, Apple, and Spotify. You know, you advocate killing one person and millions of fans with dissociative identity disorder, and suddenly everyone loses their sense of humor. Yes, I am under attack, just like the Jews in the Holocaust that may not have happened.
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech is enshrined in the Constitution. That means anything you do with your face hole is protected by the First Amendment, such as firing blow darts, driving a bulldozer with your teeth into a hospital, and shoving a grenade in a dolphin's blowhole while screaming, "Sayonara, Flipper!"
So long, Flipper.
I am here for one reason only. Speaking truth to power. That is my singular motivation. Buy my Cortex Quake pills and you will not die! Now available in mixed berry.
Cortex quick.
Do not believe anyone who says these pills are just spray-painted Mike and Ike's.
No shirt.
Let's bring on the last remaining bastion of logic and civility, Donald Trump Jr.
I caught a big fish.
You met with the Russians to get dirt on Hillary Clinton. So tell the folks why the mainstream media is blowing this whole thing out of proportion.
Last time I checked, there's no law that says you can't conspire with a foreign country.
Right. Well, except there are laws against it. I can get behind a complicated theory here, but you got to ground it in something.
Look at it this way. Hillary colluded with the Russians, which is bad, but I colluded with the Russians, which is good.
Please, do not make me be the voice of reason here.
Let me start over. I caught a big fish.
You are disconnected from reality.
Interview over.
7076! Tomorrow I will address these rumors that my brain is constantly spinning like a rotisserie chicken.
InfoWars. We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you these random headlines.
Hey.
My apologies. Random headlines. Full disclosure, I didn't read over these all super close.
That's all right. That's what makes them random.
But the first one, I'm trying to dive deeper and find even more random headlines because I feel like the ones that I've been dishing out lately are...
They get talked about right after we record them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about something... I think it was 2 different headlines that we talked about on the podcast,
right?
That I then saw on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I did. I
did
too.
On Weekend Update. I was like, man, we should be writers for this.
Holding 2 dicks. Anyway, this is out of Alaska.
Mark Penis. I'm sorry, out of Alaska.
Oh, Donald McRonald. All right. Military explosive specialist destroyed a World War II era mortar found at an Alaska museum after determining the munition was live. So they've got a museum up there, World War II museum.
No.
And it's, there's just a mortar sitting there.
Like in a case? Like,
yeah.
Check out this mortar.
Yeah. Wait, no. It says a staff member... Oh, it's a Japanese mortar. A staff member found the Japanese mortar round last week while sorting through the collections vault. So they're sorting through their vault of crap, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, this is live.
Dude. It's
scary.
like finding sweaty dynamite. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh man!
So he detonated it himself, or he
No.
called it? He's like, just let me throw it. Hang on.
Anybody got a mortar tube? Like, let's just have some fun, man.
Let's see if this goes.
Clear, boom.
Yeah, get that one that's in that display over there. That'll work.
That's what I would do. No, they called in the bomb squad, and they came in and disposed of it.
Dude, I was watching a video. It was clearly a homemade video of insurgents in Iraq. This was years ago.
Yeah,
launching mortars.
Yeah.
But they clearly aren't trained.
Right.
And a mortar tube gets really hot.
Oh no.
And he did like 5, and the 6th one exploded right when he dropped it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure it killed him and his...
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, the camera just kind of went black. He was like one after no space. It was like thunk, 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 thunk.
Gosh.
You gotta give it some time to cool off.
Cool that barrel, man. All right, the next one is out of Massachusetts. Police in Massachusetts are looking for a woman. Well, basically, she wussed out on robbing a bank. So she went up to a teller, and she was like really nervous, and
give me all your money.
No, she pulled away. And she said, "Just a minute," and then she went over and wrote something.
Okay.
And then she tore it up and threw it in the garbage, and then they pieced it back together, and it was a...
Oh my gosh. Is that illegal?
I know, right?
I guess it's conspiracy.
Did she really do anything?
It's conspiracy.
She chickened out at the last minute. I mean...
I never thought about that angle before. If you're going to rob someplace, you got to like pump yourself up. You're listening to like some speed metal before you go in. Like, let's go. Here we go.
That's a Bryan Regan joke.
Yeah.
Where he talks about chess and how the move isn't done until you take your fingers off. And he's like, I wish that was life. Like, you rob a bank. Everyone down! All right, never mind. I'm going to do this instead.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I pieced it back together. Yeah. That lady was acting weird. Let's go see what she threw away.
She was going to rob us.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so...
they're looking for her.
If you see her...
She's probably still nervous. Need some Xanax.
Oh, all right. So it's been cold.
Yeah.
There's a polar vortex, which polar vortex is going to be at Warped Tour this year. So
yeah,
look for them.
Wait, can we just explain something to people who are anti-global warming?
Right.
For the love of everything holy, please just look at how this works, okay? Just because the polar vortex comes down does not mean global warming is not true. In fact, it proves that it is, because what's happening is it's really warm in the Arctic, which pushes the cold air down.
Hold on, I gotta...
So, please, when Trump tweets like, we need some of that global warming, or we need some of that global warming, let me work on my impression. Like, oh my gosh. It's basic understanding of how things work.
These temperatures are actually caused by global whamming, sir. Polar vortex breaks up and dips south. It's all predicted. Besides, just because it's cold now doesn't mean climate change is a myth. If August is a real month, then why isn't it August now? And if death is real, why aren't we all dead, okay? Death is just a Chinese hoax to raise money for Big Coffin.
Big Coffin. Oh, brother.
Yeah, so...
Stop it.
Just because it's not August.
Just stop it.
Yeah.
Extremes. -50. Oh, my gosh.
Anyway.
Okay.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Iowa. It's cold.
Yeah.
So, a news station there, WOI TV, Des Moines. Not Des Moines, both of them. They put out a can of Coke, a bottle or a aerosol can of hairspray, Pam, the spray.
Not the person.
Yeah, a lady named Pam. A Pepsi Cola.
Okay.
Busch beer, which they had to say apparently is their state's favorite beer.
Okay.
So
money.
And Red Bull.
Okay.
And they wanted to see which one would explode first.
Okay.
the weatherman predicted that the Red Bull would explode first. What would you think would explode first? To me, there's not a ton of carbonation in Red Bull.
I'd go with Hairspray.
You think?
If it's the CFC,
Yeah.
either that or Pam.
No. Those didn't even explode.
Oh.
The Pepsi exploded.
Oh, okay.
See, to me that makes sense because the Pepsi and the Coke are the most and the
super carbonated.
The Coke can, it didn't explode, but it like
elongated.
It almost turned into like looked like a Coke bottle.
Well, that speaks volumes to the technology of aluminum cans made by Pepsi.
Yeah.
Don't fear not if you leave a Pepsi in your freezer.
Right.
It will just elongate.
No, that was a Coke.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pepsi exploded
the
first.
Pepsi exploded.
So
okay.
don't leave Pepsi in your car. Have you ever done that? I did that once.
Yeah.
I left a
oh my gosh
12-pack in my car and it exploded.
When it was cold.
Yeah.
When I was working for the radio, we gave away free soda. With sponsors would give us just mountains of soda.
Right.
And it's an incident management vehicle.
Right.
And I think I had like 6 12-packs of cherry Coke just lining the back of the truck. But it was midsummer. And Kurt was with me. It was when Kurt worked there.
Okay.
And we're just driving down the freeway. And me and Kurt had an understanding when we worked together a lot. We had an understanding that was, hey, we've been with each other for a long time today. We don't want to talk to each other anymore.
Right.
And we just wouldn't talk.
Right.
For the whole way back to the garage, open it, close it. We would just say bye. It wasn't like we hated each other. We just knew like enough was enough.
Right.
So we're just driving in one of those moods.
Right.
And I hear, pop! I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, ah! And then it was like all at once. It was like, pop, 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 pop. It was the scariest thing and made the biggest mess. But anyway, so they will explode in heat as well.
Definitely. Interestingly enough, he had a laser thermometer, and the bush was the warmest at like -29.
Okay.
But the Pam and the Hairspray were at the coldest at like -44.
Interesting.
I think that makes sense because it's the aerosol in there.
Sure.
Like if you ever turn that stuff upside down, right?
Yeah,
it gets
freezing.
super cold.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
I don't know the
And
science,
then
but sure.
it seems like the alcohol wouldn't
Alcohol
freeze,
doesn't
right?
freeze.
So it would stay the warmest. I don't know. Anyway, so don't go to those states. Although I hear it's supposed to be like spring there next week.
Yeah, it's like a 60-degree swing.
Yeah.
I think they said literally high 40s in Chicago next week.
Oh.
So they go from -20 with a wind chill at -50 up to like the mid 40s.
Oh man, that's wow. That sucks.
It's time for the Onion or InfoWars. The segment we haven't done it in a while.
Yeah.
The segment in which I read a headline from the Onion, a satirical news website, and a headline from InfoWars, a right-wing self-purported real news website.
Right.
Are you ready for your 2 headlines?
I am.
And Spencer has to guess which is which.
Right.
First headline. Report. Trump trolls Clintons by showing White House guests Lewinsky romp room.
Okay.
Cory Booker, this is the second one. Cory Booker apologizes to Wall Street bankers for the mean things he's going to have to say about them.
Those are both pretty...
You want me to read them again? Report. Trump trolls Clintons by showing White House guests Lewinsky romp room. The second one, Cory Booker, who just announced he's running for president. Cory Booker apologizes to Wall Street bankers for the mean things that he's going to have to say about them.
I'm thinking the Cory Booker is the Onion.
You're right.
Okay.
It's the mean things gives it away. 'Cause
Right.
It's kind of childish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, InfoWars. I didn't even fact check this one because I don't care. InfoWars is reporting that Trump is showing guests of the White House the Lewinsky romp room. Which, if you want to know,
this is where Bill got a blowjob. In case you were wondering.
If you want to know, it was just off the Oval Office.
Yeah.
It was not in the Oval Office. Don't ask me why I know that. But
I've done a lot of research on this. Okay.
This is Lewinsky room.
I can totally see him.
Oh yeah. For sure.
You're gonna like this.
He's gonna elbow. He's like elbowing a guy.
This is where Bill, and me, we
like
both. This is where I take Mitch McConnell.
Oh man! See that ruler over there? That one was for Paul Ryan. Good stuff.
Oh, well.
All right.
Speaking of emotions running high, you're a big Utah Jazz fan.
Yes.
In fact, you're wearing a Utah Jazz sweater.
That's all I'm wearing.
Hoodie. I haven't looked below the desk, so I'm going to take your word for it. But, so, there's been a big uproar this week in Utah because selections for the All-Star game were made.
Oh, don't bring it up.
The Jazz's defensive, what is he called? Is he a forward? I don't know.
Rudy Gobert?
Yeah.
He's a center.
Center.
He is the reigning defensive player of the year.
True. He got snubbed.
Leader in dunks this year and blocks, I'm pretty sure.
And no one really knows why, because it's the coaches that pick. And
it's not.
The
coaches choose the reserve team.
Right. So he got snubbed by the fans, not Utah
Which makes
fans.
sense because Utah's a small market.
Right.
So did Donovan Mitchell, even though he had a rough first start to the season.
He's too young.
Yeah, he's going to be in the rising stars. However,
right.
Rudy Gobert, I understand. And because the All-Star game is supposed to be an offensive show.
Right.
Right? They don't want to see a guy protecting the rim.
Right.
And, barely lifting off the ground to dunk.
Right.
So it's a show. And Utah's a small market team, so they're not going to get the votes because you can vote every day, once a day up to the deadline.
But where the
why the
coaches? Because the general feeling is that the coaches know that Rudy Gobert is very valuable and a very good player. So that all being said, whatever, fine. I want to get your take on his interview today. Did you see this?
No.
Okay. So he was this yesterday or today? Anyway, I'm just going to play just a little bit of it.
You seem equally motivated by success and accomplishment as well.
Yeah. It's always going to be that way.
Basketball background. All right. Well, probably more of a visual, but he starts crying.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah. He starts crying. He gets emotional, and he ends the interview.
Wow.
Now, I want to know, and then he's been trolled by
bunch of douchebags.
Well, Green, the Warriors, Draymond Green.
Draymond Green,
yeah,
he can go fuck himself.
Who is a douchebag?
Yeah,
but,
he is the only person who is a bigger douchebag in the league is DeMarcus Cousins.
It might have been actually both of them, but anyway, what? Okay,
what say I?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
For me, I can relate because he feels defeated. Like he feels like he's tried everything that he can to be recognized as an all-star, and he just got snubbed. And I get that, and I get that it's very disappointing and defeating. I don't know, like, I don't care, but it does kind of show, I don't know, I think
it shows passion.
But it's also kind of like, is it passion? It kind of makes him come off as does it make him come off as a crybaby, like a pouty, or I don't know.
I don't think so. He ended the interview. He really hasn't said much about it.
Right.
And
he does talk about everything in the interview. He talks, they say that the reason he got emotional is because he said that his mom called him and she was crying because he didn't get in.
Well, I mean,
and he does talk kind of similar to what you said and how they don't want defense and that kind of stuff. But,
right. A few things. I think that. I lost my first one. But let me just illustrate something for you.
Yeah.
Okay. You grow up in France.
Yeah.
Idolizing probably French basketball players, European basketball players, looking to the NBA as the premier where you want to be.
Right.
Not just for money, but for bragging rights.
Right.
He worked on this his whole life.
Right.
You forget sometimes. These are kids. He's 26.
He is pretty young, yeah.
He's 26 years old.
Right.
That's young.
Yeah.
You know, I graduated from college, I think, when I was 25.
Right.
And, you know, it's like not getting a job. This is all he knows. And he's worked his entire life for this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, I've cried in front of bosses before.
Yeah.
Like, I've broken down.
Yeah.
I've had emotional breakdowns at work before. It's not something I can relate to what happened.
I think that it's ultimately, I think it's endearing to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
If Draymond or DeMarcus want to say anything, you know, you can go fuck themselves, because Draymond wouldn't be anything without Steph Curry.
Right.
You know, or Klay Thompson.
Right.
He's nothing.
Yeah.
He's nothing at Golden State. You're a great small forward, if even.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. DeMarcus Cousins is actually pretty talented, but he's a dick. You know, he's like a Dennis Rodman.
Ooh.
Like, really good. You know, he's really good at what he does, but he's
Right.
just a jerk. And I mean, he gets traded from teams because of it.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think what's going to happen, though, is that it's going to endear fans to him even more.
Right.
Right. And it's going to put a chip on his shoulder for the rest of the season.
That's what everyone's saying. Everyone's like, hey, you better watch out.
Yeah.
Because
he already won Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Yeah.
And you watch it in games, man. When he gets into it, nothing stops him.
Right.
You know? And so I have no problem with him. I think you could be a bigger crybaby in like, to use the colloquial term crybaby,
right,
would be like tweeting about it constantly, or you know,
right,
talking crap on the ones who did get in over him. Right. I'm not going to talk. I don't even know who Anthony Green. I think, you know, I don't know who it is, but that would be one thing. Just talking, like, if he was to tweet like, "Look how crappy Anthony Green is."
Mm-hmm.
Why is he getting, like, that's more crybabyish to me.
Right.
Actually tearing up during an interview and then ending the interview right then, that's totally different to me.
Right.
So I like Rudy.
No, I do too. He seems. What I like about him is he seems pretty devoted to the Utah team, which is pretty
super devoted.
A pretty rare thing.
We need it again in Utah because you know, he got really pissed at Gordon Hayward for leaving. No one got along with Enes Kanter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which I don't know if Enes Kanter plays for the Knicks now. Mm-hmm. He didn't play like 5 games in a row.
Right.
Coach's decision.
Right.
That's a big deal. Yeah. So anyway, I like Rudy. He did get snubbed, absolutely. You know, and he's going to go to every game now in the Western Conference where those coaches voted
and show them.
Yeah.
I admire that because I feel like my personality, I'd be defeated. I'd just be like, I did everything I can.
Yeah.
I can't be any better than this. So good on him if he's going to go out there and prove him wrong. Anyway, I think we got time for one more topic.
You know what? No, we're going to tease this for Sunday.
Oh,
we're good.
Yeah, we have.
We're good. I'll tease people. I'll tease you. I want to talk about the New York abortion bill, not in defense or in opposition to it. I just want to clear it up for people. So that'll be on Sunday. Cool?
Abortion on Sunday!
Yeah.
Woo!
So that'll come out on Tuesday, I guess. But anyway, you've been listening to the Our Take Podcast, a production of Scary Pair Media.
Like us on Facebook.
Yes, at the Our Take Pod on Facebook,
Message
Instagram,
us.
and Twitter.
Engage with us.
Please.
Cause discussion with us.
Give us some rebuttals, you know?
Please.
Anyway.
That'd be awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
For episode 34, I'm Bryan.
I am Spencer. We'll catch you next time.
So I'm glad that they stay buried, 'cause my mind is such a clutter.